Emily from England. A dream journey to the land of the Pharaohs. In a suburb of London, where there were row houses with their red wooden doors and small, well-maintained gardens, lived a young girl named Emily Rose Wilkinson. A 25-year-old girl with a heart that resembles the wind. He does not like stability and always longs for the unknown. Emily lived a quiet life in England, working in a university library and preparing a master's degree in ancient history. Despite the apparent calm of her life, inside her was an unquenchable volcano of curiosity. Passionate about civilizations, fond of Egyptian history, and she had read hundreds of books about the pharaohs, the pyramids, the Sphinx, mummies, and ancient beliefs. She always repeated to her best friend, "I seem to have lived there in a previous life. Something draws me to Egypt. I don't understand it, but it doesn't leave me." On a cold autumn evening, while sipping mint tea on her balcony and reading a book about Thutmose III, she suddenly decided, without much hesitation, to book a flight ticket to Cairo. One morning in November, the plane took off from London Heathrow Airport, and Emily was sitting by the window, staring into the clouds as if searching for a prophecy. She carried with her an old leather notebook in which she would write down her travel diary, and a small camera she bought specifically to document the moments. The plane landed 5.5 hours later at Cairo International Airport, and that's where everything began to change. The heat was different, the air carried a strange fragrance of history, people, and spices, and the noise was like Oriental music you had never heard before. She stayed in a hotel overlooking the Nile River and chose a room on a high floor. She stood on the balcony, staring at the water sparkling under the moonlight, and whispered, "I'm finally here, in the heart of the dream." The next morning, she woke up early, wore a white cotton shirt and light pants, tied her golden hair into a loose braid, and then set off for the Giza area, accompanied by an Egyptian tour guide named Mazen, a nice young man who spoke fluent English. As soon as the pyramids appeared on the horizon, Emily felt goosebumps running through her body. There she was, standing in the face of time, towering and unshakable, as if she was defying death itself. She approached Khufu's pyramid, her heart beating hard. She touched the old stones with her hand and asked Mazen, "How was it built? Do you think humans really built it?" Mazen laughed and said, "These stones keep the secret, but they don't reveal it to anyone." Then she visited the second and third pyramids and took dozens of pictures. But the moment that really captivated her was when she stood in front of the Sphinx. That silent stone statue, with its mysterious look, made her feel very small in the face of the greatness of time. She sat in front of him in long silence, as if trying to solve a mystery that had not been solved for thousands of years. The next day, she decided to visit the Grand Egyptian Museum, which she had always read about. When she reached him, she felt like she was entering a portal to another world. The halls are spacious, lit in a way that preserves the prestige of the statues, and the treasures are scattered as if they were pieces of the memory of time. Emily wandered among the coffins, mummies, and royal jewelry, and stood for a long time in front of Tutankhamun's golden mask. The light was reflected on the face of the pharaonic child, as if he was watching his visitors from thousands of years away. She felt like the mask was whispering to her. Everyone who looked at me went back to where he came from. But he was no longer the same. She wrote in her notebook, "It's not a museum. It's a crypt to the other world. Here, death has a beautiful face." In the evening, she visited Al Hussein neighborhood, that popular neighborhood that is vibrant with life. I sat in El Fishawi Cafe, drinking Arabic coffee and listening to the oud playing. There she met an elderly man, wearing a traditional Egyptian robe, holding a worn-out book in his hand. He sat at the next table, and after a few minutes of silence, he turned to her and said, "Are you from England?" "Yes." "How did you know?" she replied in surprise. He said with a smile, "The astonishment in your eyes is not like the astonishment of the Egyptians. You are here to look for something. You may not know what it is, but you know that Egypt has it in store for you." He told her about an unknown temple in the Western Desert, about a mysterious manuscript in the museum, and about secrets that do not appear on television. She listened to him as if she were listening to a narrator from the time of 1001 Nights. On the last day, she returned to the pyramids alone, without a guide, without a camera. She sat on the sand, looking at her silently, and wrote in her notebook, "When I came from England, I thought I was going to visit a place, but I visited my heart. Egypt is not a country. It is a mirror. She saw me like no one had ever seen me before." She returned to London a few days later, but her eyes were no longer the same. Every night she dreamed of the Sphinx, of the hot wind caressing her face over the sands of Giza, and of King Tut's mask staring at her. One winter day, she sat at her desk in the library, writing an article about her experience in Egypt. Then she suddenly stopped, closed the notebook, and said to herself, "I won't write about it anymore. I'll come back to it."